All right, guys, thank you so much for coming today and for your patience and bearing with us as we get started here this afternoon at Cheney Stadium. For those that don't know me, my name is Alex Caulfield. I manage communications for Seattle Sounders FC. And on behalf of all the panelists you see here before you, who we're going to introduce here in a second, welcome again to Cheney Stadium and thank you for being here this afternoon. First, just going to introduce the panelists that you see up here today and then walk you guys through a few items for the run of show, and then we'll turn it over to our panelists for their opening remarks. Immediately seated to my left, your right, is Tacoma Mayor Victoria Woodards. We'd like to welcome her here today. To Mayor Woodards' left is Tacoma Rainiers President Aaron Artman. To Aaron's left is Tacoma Rainiers Chairman and CEO Michael Thompson. Hoping these next two might be surprise guests for some of you in the room here today, but we have Reign FC owner Bill Predmore and Reign FC forward Megan Rapinoe. Seated, immediately to Megan's left is MultiCare President and CEO Bill Robertson. And next to Bill, we have Metro Parks Tacoma Board Chair Aaron Pointer. Aaron is followed by Pierce County Executive Bruce Danmeyer. And last and certainly not least, to me certainly, is Sounders FC General Manager and President of Soccer Garth Lagerwey. These fine folks are going to be the ones breaking all the news items here today, and I will get out of the way shortly. But before I do need to acknowledge a few people that are in the room here today with us that have contributed to these events and will certainly be contributing to what you're about to hear later today in the future. First of all, we would like to say thank you to Nate Caminos of Senator Maria Cantwell's office. And Nate's here right now. Nate, thank you for coming. I'd also like to acknowledge Sean Bills of Senator Patty Murray's office. Sean, are you here? Andrea Roper should be in the house from Congressman Kilmer's office. There she is. She's shy. She's waving here in the front. I see her. We have Pierce County Chair Doug Richardson here today as well. I'd also like to acknowledge Pierce County Council Member Connie Ladenburg. And also Tacoma City Council members Connor McCarthy and Keith Blocker. In the room today, we also have City of Tacoma Attorney Steve Vicker. And Tacoma Venues and Events Director Kim Badir. Certainly want to take time to acknowledge our representatives of Metro Parks Tacoma as well. There's several of them in the room today, so big round of applause for those guys, please. Puyallup Tribe Chairman Bill Sterridge should be here. Is he in the room today? If he's not, he's on his way. And want to also acknowledge MultiCare representatives. There are a lot in the room here today, and they have some big news to break shortly. Almost done here. I'm rounding the home turn here, I promise. We have Tacoma Public Schools President Karen Vial, I'm so sorry. Karen Vial, just put that on me. That's completely my fault. I apologize there. Thank you. We also have Tacoma Public Schools reps Josh Garcia, James Neal, and other folks from TPS here in the building today. I'll just run through a couple more, and you can hold your applause to the end on these, but they're all very important people. We have Sounders FC owner Adrian Hanauer here today. We have Reign FC owner Teresa Predmore. We have Leslie Artman, wife of Aaron Artman from the Tacoma Rainiers, seated here today. We have several Sounders FC players and technical staff, Chris Henderson, Mark Nichols, Wade Weber, Corey Sincer, just to name a few. Players, as I think I mentioned, we have Reign FC players in the building here today. We're glad to see them again after just seeing them a couple of weeks ago at another press event. And several folks from the Tacoma Rainiers and the Sounders Community Trust, including new president Michael Bulzomi. So welcome to all those guys. Thank you for bearing with me. We're going to turn it over now to the mayor, who's going to break our first news item of the day, so I'm going to leave that with her. I promise that when all the news is broken, media that are assembled here, you'll have your traditional gallery Q&A. There will be a photo op at the end for still photographers and ENGs in the back, so you're welcome to stay exactly where you are. And then we're just going to hear from the panelists at this point. So I'm going to turn it over to the mayor.
Great, thank you. How exciting this is. You don't even know what you're excited for yet, right? You know there's some announcement that's about to happen. I am delighted to be here this afternoon and delighted to join all of you on an announcement. Although you've heard there's so many, I wish I could tell all of them, but they only let me have one. But it is my pleasure to announce today that here in the great city of Tacoma and at Cheney Stadium, it will now be the new home for the Rain FC. In a few minutes, they will be formally known as Rain FC, and that's another announcement. But can you believe that right here in Tacoma, we're getting a professional women's soccer team? I do want to take this moment to thank Rainiers majority owner Michael Thompson, Aaron Artman, the president and fellow owner of the Tacoma Rainiers, and the Rain FC owners, Bill and Teresa Predmore, for choosing Tacoma and Cheney Stadium and for caring so deeply about women's professional sports. Eventually, you will be playing in the new soccer stadium we will be building in partnership with the Sounders, the Rainiers, and Metro Parks. I hold my fingers up because we know that we still have a feasibility study to get through. But I am hopeful that upon completing that feasibility study, that we will be building a new stadium in the city of Tacoma for professional soccer. Isn't that exciting? Woo-hoo. So this will give us an opportunity to take advantage of having the Sounders 2 franchise in Tacoma, soon to be rebranded, but also for the Rain and the youth soccer will be playing in that stadium, and we're really excited about that. The Seattle Rain will feature the highest level of professional athletes to ever call Tacoma home. These women, and I'm glad it's women, sorry, gentlemen. These women playing in my hometown are worldwide superstars. They're the best of the best, with world club and Olympic medal experience across the board. I can honestly say that as mayor of Tacoma, it does not get any better than this. No offense to any of the prominent folks up here with me on the dais, but I'm very excited to be up here with Seattle Rain superstar, World Cup champion, and Olympic gold medalist woman, Megan Rapinoe. Can we give it up for women's soccer? But seriously, Megan, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a role model to all of us, particularly all young women. I was just in a meeting this afternoon and a woman asked me, these were business leaders, a woman asked me, how do we inspire other young women to get involved where they can? And we inspire young women by being what it is they want to be, so that they can see the leaders in us, so that they can believe that they too can be those leaders and be those sports players. So thank you so much for the leadership that you're showing, and we're so excited to have you. I also want to take this.
Sorry.
I got a couple more things to say. Am I okay?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
I also want to take this moment to thank the owner of the Seattle Sounders, Adrian Hadauer, Maya Mendoza, and Tom Riley for also choosing Tacoma and working so hard with my team in the city of Tacoma to make the new stadium and related development a reality for our community. I'd also like to thank Sounders General Manager Garth Lagerway, seated up here with me, whose expertise in building the Sounders franchise, using Tacoma as ground zero of a new and innovative model for soccer, investment and development in this country, is a huge piece of the puzzle that makes this project, and it's why it makes so much sense. Thank you so much, Garth. Can we give him a round of applause? Please know that your investment in Tacoma is truly appreciated, and we want you and your incredible partnership with the Rainiers to thrive right here in the City of Destiny. In closing, Commissioner Pointer, while we still need to complete the feasibility study, we are off to a heck of a great start with our second tenant, the Seattle Reign, and a new private sector partner who will be up soon to announce their investment and commitment to Central Tacoma. The Reign are here for two reasons. The expertise of our hometown Tacoma Rainiers, which has now led two professional sports franchises moving to Tacoma. They have put Tacoma on the map when it comes to professional sports and public-private investment in Cheney Stadium, which continues each year by this ownership group. The Rainiers are an economic and civic pride driver for our city and this region. Give them a round of applause. And then let's be frank with one another. Women have not always gotten the most investment in sports. But here in Tacoma, we're going to get it right. And we're making investments not just in the sport, but in the women who play the sport. And they deserve to play on fields and play in spaces that are just as great as the fields and the stadiums that we have built for men's sports teams. And that's what we'll do in Tacoma. So those of you who know me know that I say we can't do it alone. We've got to make this successful together. So let's all come together. It's already happening, but let's make sure that in Tacoma, it is the most successful in the country, and we can do that together. Congratulations, and I can't wait to come see women's soccer at Cheney Stadium.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Your enthusiasm is infectious, as always. What a great day for our city. And thank you, Bill and Teresa and Megan, for joining us down here in Tacoma. We welcome you with open arms and bare forearms, to be more specific, because we roll up our sleeves down here when there's something significant that we're trying to get done. In the spirit of partnership overall, I also want to thank Tacoma Public Schools. They are going to allow and help the Reign train at the Foss practice field. So the team will be training right here in Tacoma on this footprint, which is spectacular. Thank you for that. And honestly, converting a baseball field to a soccer field is not easy. Thank you for the Sounders for the investment you've made in us to help do that. But I want to thank Michael Huey and our grounds crew. This is truly probably the most successful baseball to soccer conversion story in the country. Teams are flying here to try to model it. Our field gets amazing reviews from the technical side of soccer, and a big thanks to our ops department and our grounds crew are somewhere here in the room that we wouldn't be able to do any of this, quite frankly, if they couldn't convert the field right. So thank you to them. And without further ado, I'd love to turn it over to Reign owner Bill Predmore.
Thanks very much, Aaron. I was thinking I might be best served just to yield my time to the mayor, who I think is much more eloquent than I'm going to manage here. So thank you for the excitement, the enthusiasm around the team. That I was thinking back, we did an announcement somewhat like this 6 years ago, and I think we had enough to fill the front row at that presentation. So I'm glad to see things have grown a little bit bigger here. So I want to say a couple thank yous to get started here. First, we've got folks from Zulily, our presenting partner this year, in the audience. I just want to thank them for making the journey down here. And for their advice and counsel as we went through this process as well. So, they've been involved since the start of this process, and just really appreciated their support on this. Second, and the lights are a little bright, so I can't say I can see here for sure, but I understand there's a few folks from the Rail Guard out in the audience somewhere. So thank you for coming down. And thank you for your support over the years. A small but mighty supporters group, and hope we can have you come down to Cheney as well in the future here. So, so as the mayor said, we're sort of incredibly excited to make the move down to Tacoma to Cheney Stadium. And I'll admit this is I've got complicated emotions about this. That Memorial Stadium was our home, and it had some challenges that I think all of our fans are aware of. But but it was a place we called home. So I am sad. I'm sad to go, but just so excited to come down here. That the welcome that we've had from the city, I think the collaboration with Aaron, with Michael, and really the entire staff at the Rainiers has been incredible, and it made it a very easy decision for us, ultimately to come down here. So, today's presentation really is the culmination of almost a year's work to try and resolve the challenges that we had in Memorial Stadium. That, again, it's a 71-year-old building, and there were some intractable challenges in that space that really money alone was not going to solve. So for the last year, we've been working to try and locate a new place to play. And when we went through this process, we weren't just thinking of a stadium to play in. We were looking for a home that we could really build our future upon. And again, through the conversations that Michael, Aaron, myself had over the last 12 months, it became very clear that Tacoma was this place. And again, just hearing the mayor speak today, I've never been more sure of the decision than I am right now. So in addition to obviously huge news for us. To come down here, play our 12 home matches, hopefully 13 if we can manage a semifinal playoff game. There are some other announcements as well I'm going to talk about, and the first is that we've expanded the Reigns ownership group. That my wife Teresa and I have led the team now for 6 years, and I think along the way we've recognized that having some help is a good thing, and being able to lean on folks with the experience and the expertise running quite successfully professional teams is something that was quite valuable to us. We viewed as quite valuable. So in addition to, again, the great facility here, I think we've got great leadership joining the organization as well. So Michael Thompson and his group that owns and operates Rainiers have made a significant minority investment in Rain FC, which is obviously fantastic for us. Secondarily, but separately, the Hanauer family, led by Adrian and his mother Lenore, who, as it turns out, is both a huge women's soccer fan and a Megan Rapinoe fan as well. That probably helps a little bit. They're both joining the ownership group as well. So it's again, I think it's a big step forward for our organization. I want to touch just very briefly on, when we look at the future, think about the new stadium and the potential that holds for our organization. That having done this now a little while, that I've long felt that the success in what we're doing is really built around having a facility that was the right fit for our team, and everything that that Aaron and Michael have talked about in terms of what this stadium can be, what it can mean for our team, but really what it can mean for the community. It is a massive opportunity for our club, and I think can put us in a place where we can finally see that sustainability that I think we've been seeking for so long. So last, I want to end with this, that I think we've built a passionate fan base up in Seattle over the years, and I want to ask them to do just a little bit of extra work and make the journey down to Tacoma to watch our games. That I can promise that the experience down here will be exponentially better than what we're able to deliver in Seattle. That we were really hamstrung in terms of providing what I sort of refer to as a modern match day experience. That things.
I mean, there's no beer, so it's tough.
Well,
Beer helps with sports fans.
that was my big reveal. Was beer.
You can drink beer in your seat here.
It's the only upgrade, beer.
Yeah, little things like seats without splinters, reserved seats, bathrooms that you didn't mind being in, and beer. They all make a difference, and I think they shape that sort of overall experience. Right? I think we put a great product on the field for many years. Now I think we can do it, off the pitch as well. So, I know everybody in Tacoma knows what they're going to get by coming in here. I know they've obviously supported the Rainiers, and I did a great job with the USL side as well last year. So I know they know what they're going to be getting themselves into coming to a match. But again, would love to see as many people as possible coming down from Seattle to join us for games. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pino here for a few remarks about beer,
Yeah.
apparently.
I mean, I don't drink it personally because I'm an athlete, but yeah, I mean, I just want to start by saying how excited we are. I'll speak on behalf of the team, had conversations with different players and kind of wrapping our head around the move. But we genuinely are just so excited for this move. I think we see the huge upside and potential that this can offer our club, and everyone is really thrilled to, first of all, play on grass. This is going to like add 5 years to my career. So that'll be nice. But genuinely, it seems like a huge opportunity for the club and to grow the game and for women's football in general. Thank you to the mayor and the city and everyone here at this park and involved with Rainiers and the Sounders as well for bringing us in and choosing to do this all together. I think that the collaboration piece of that is really important and is going to be a great opportunity for everyone. I don't love having bosses, and the idea of adding another one is a little scary, but we're very excited to have the Hanauer family, obviously legendary family soccer-wise in this city, and yeah, we're very excited to be able to have you on board. And you're minority owner, right? Yeah. We'll deal more with your mom. Okay, we'll put it that. But no, in all seriousness, obviously we've known each other for a while and enjoyed watching the success of the Sounders, and happy to have you in with our group as well. And I think just one thing I've learned over the course of my career, I'm not going to date myself, I'm still sort of young, but just how many changes happen all the time. And I think with women's football, we're very much in sort of the early stages and the growing stages, and you can just never sort of pin down exactly what each moment is going to be like. You have to be fluid and adaptable, and I always think this is a funny story. Maybe Bill doesn't think so, but when we first started with the NWSL, the national team players sort of had a lottery of sorts. You could put, kind of your first picks, and I went to Portland, and I was living in Portland at the time. I just bought a house in Portland. I got put in Seattle, and I was like, no, I'm not coming.
I don't like this story.
Yeah, I'm like telling my agent, I'm not coming. Like, this is stupid. I don't want to go to Seattle. And it's become an absolute home for me. Not only the city, but Bill and Teresa and their family have become a family to me. And that just kind of in that moment, I mean, as soon as I got here, I was like, oh, okay, you need to wait and see how things play out. So I have no doubt that Tacoma will become that and definitely take a piece of my heart and a piece of the team's heart, and hopefully we can do the same for you and give you not only an incredible product on the field, but also a team that's very committed to the community, to the fans, and creating something like nothing else in the whole country, and continue to give the big middle finger to Portland. So we're extremely excited to be here and to be a part of it, and we're really excited just as you said, roll up your sleeves and get working on creating the best team we can here. So, thank you.
Believe it or not, there's more to come. There's more news, and for news item number 2, I'm going to turn it back over to Aaron Artman.
Thank you, Alex. Well, one of the worst kept secrets in professional sports is those of us who live and breathe sports every day do not like name submission contests or name the team contests or online polls for names. To us, it's similar to putting out a poll to name your child when it's born. I'm completely a believer now, however, and I'm really excited to announce, we had over 1,000 submissions for our Name the Team contest. This one was the majority of the fan submissions, so thank you, very smart and awesome soccer fans of Tacoma and Seattle. I'm thrilled to announce the Tacoma's USL franchise will no longer be known as S2, and it will be known as the Tacoma Defiance. This new brand makes sense on so many levels, anchored by Point Defiance from a regional perspective, which is a truly unique and majestic Metro Parks property within the town. So there's some good synergy there, given that there are partners on this giant adventure that we call soccer growth and stadium and everything else within the city. Defiance also speaks to our maritime history. In fact, the ship that's featured in our primary logo is a stylized version of the USS Point Defiance, which was a naval destroyer actually named after Point Defiance. As we all know, and you'll notice it in there in giant rave green, that the largest giant Pacific octopus ever seen or caught or something under the Narrows Bridge or off Point Defiance was in the early 1900s, right here in the Salish Sea. So we would not be doing our duties if we weren't including that ominous octopus creature within all of our marks. Also, the octopus was something that the fan groups spoke about often as somehow incorporating, so we think it's a great fit. But perhaps more important, I think, for Tacoma is Defiance carries a visceral emotion that is true to our city. We're founded by mavericks and frontiersmen, and we have a defiant culture. We work hard, we play hard, and we forge our own identity in politics, business, and life. We're a diverse city. We kind of scoff at those homogenous entrenchments that you find in a lot of other cities. Everybody just gets along and works together here, regardless of race, class, professional job, role, whatever that may be. And honestly, we are by far the least passive-aggressive city in the Northwest. Which I feel so bad for our Seattle soccer partners. They're still getting used to us. Tom Riley, the Sounders CFO, he says, sometimes, Aaron, can you just use charm when we're on these big calls? And I'm working on it, I promise. And we're here today in a somewhat defiant nature. When I came here in 2007, most people said we could never get Cheney Stadium renovated, that we could never boost attendance at Cheney Stadium, it could never become a source of civic pride again. All those things have happened, and we defied those norms, and we took the risks, which is what we're really talking about as we look at the overall soccer landscape in these projects, is how much risk are we willing to take for the future of this city and what it can do. And this goes beyond the sports business, goes beyond the soccer field complex or a development that could all be part of this feasibility study. It's a commitment really deeply and sincerely to change and defy the soccer model in this country, which has predominantly been a pay-to-play suburban model. With the successful completion of this project, the Rave Foundation, in conjunction with our team, is going to actually identify 4 to 5 of the most underserved neighborhoods and build soccer fields in them and give every kid within a 2-mile radius a soccer ball. And those soccer fields will not be allowed to be rented by a club, by a select team. Obviously there's a place for all that skill level, but we need to get our young people using soccer as a sport they play at a young age, and all the other things that can do for them from motor skills development, early childhood development. This truly is our attempt with partners who are way smarter about this than us to change the way we operate soccer in this country, and Tacoma would be ground zero for that. So keep that in mind as you hear all these nice things. That's at the root of what we're trying to do. We also have a tertiary and a secondary logo, which should be revealed on the screen here pretty soon. And these carry a similar theme. You'll notice the fist raise and defiance coming out of the Salish Sea, holding on to the tentacle. And then, of course, we will always wear the Sounders outline of their logo. We just put TAC in front of it, and that'll be on our sleeves in perpetuity as a thank you to our great partners to the north. With that in mind, I'm excited to announce our chairman and CEO, Michael Thompson. Michael, thank you for your influence and always telling us to think big and do the right thing and lead us to all these things. You've always thought of this as much more than a AAA baseball team, and here we are.
Well, thank you, Aaron. And I really want to extend thanks to everybody. The Rainiers team has done a spectacular job of putting all of this together, but the Rain, the Sounders, and a number of other people have really stepped up and worked very hard. And, in a situation like this where you're announcing all of these new things, it could be like herding cats, and it hasn't been. Everybody's been pulling together, and they've been pulling together for the same goal from the beginning. I am thrilled to be here and have the Rain announce that they're going to come to Tacoma and make Tacoma their home. This is, for those of you who don't know it, this is Women's World Cup year in 2019. There are going to be a number of players on the Tacoma turf who will be playing in the World Cup on several different teams. We have not just the women's professional soccer team here. We have the best women and in a lot of cases, the best soccer players in the world playing on the fields of Tacoma. So I'm thrilled about that. As many of you know, I grew up in Tacoma, and the two things that I remember most about my childhood were going to Point Defiance Park and going to Cheney Stadium to watch baseball games with my family. And it's a lot of fun to now combine those two with the Tacoma Defiance team. So it's a great name, and we're thrilled about how it really anchors that team to this town. When I was growing up, my mom used to drop us off at the New Frontier bowling lanes, which were right across the freeway. And my brother and I would go and we'd bowl a couple of lines, and then we'd go across the street to the putt-putt golf course, and we'd play putt-putt golf. And then we'd walk across Bance Boulevard and come watch Aaron Pointer hit home runs in Cheney Stadium. And you could do all those things because Cheney Stadium was connected to the city and connected to the neighborhood. And ever since they put Highway 16 in, it really hasn't been. It's been a hidden gem, but that hasn't worked to its benefit or to the benefit of Tacoma. And I'm really excited today to be talking about building a soccer stadium right next door that is going to anchor this part of Tacoma to the rest of Tacoma, to really open it up and make it a bigger and brighter part of Tacoma, and no longer have it as a hidden gem, just have it as a gem, because that's what it is. I also get to announce that we have a new partner who is going to be the name on the Defiance jerseys. And everybody called them kits before, and I didn't really know what a kit was, so I'm calling it a jersey. MultiCare will be our new chief sponsor for Defiance. They are already the biggest sponsor that we have with the Tacoma Rainiers, and they will also be a major sponsor of the Rain. So these are people that really have tried to connect with the city and have done that successfully for over 100 years. I will tell you that MultiCare has some personal background with me. My little brother was born at Tacoma General Hospital in 1957. 3 years later, I had my tonsils taken out at Tacoma General. So MultiCare is close to us, and we're really excited to take the partnership that we've got with the Rainiers and MultiCare and expand that to all three teams. And to talk a little bit about that, Bill Robertson. Well,
thank you, Michael. This is a really exciting day. I have a colleague who uses the word awesome, and I think this is an awesome day. I know I'm excited to be here to celebrate this transformation that's going to happen here in sports and in the community that this represents. MultiCare has been in this community since 1882, and we have a long tradition of saying it's about health. We're trying to ultimately help create a healthy community, a healthier community. Over the last 137 years, we've been taking care of patients, Michael and his brother, and lots of others in the Pacific Northwest. And as a part of this, we've sought like-minded organizations to collaborate around building a healthy community, because none of us want to be sick. What we really want is to be healthy. One of those organizations is the Tacoma Rainiers. And the Rainiers have been an amazing participant with us in all kinds of different things around health, helping people have healthy role models in our community. The athletes are very engaged in the community. One of the things that is a really exciting part of the day for kids who are in the hospital, which is not a very exciting thing to be, is in the hospital, is that that the Rainiers have players and rhubarb show up and help our kids feel like there's something outside of those four walls that they are trapped in. Many of them feel trapped. We're just trying to take care of them. And so they have made Mary Bridge Children's Hospital a priority. They have engaged with our mission of creating health. I am so pleased that MultiCare is expanding our relationship. As Michael said, we have had a great relationship with the Rainiers, and today we're getting to announce that we're going to have an expanded relationship with the Defiance and with the Rain. So we're going to be, I didn't know what kit was either, but we're going to be the front of kit sponsor for the Defiance, and we're going to be the medical sponsor. We're going to provide medical care for the Rain. But that isn't all that we are working on here as a part of this, this partnership. I'm excited today to announce that as a part of this development that is going to happen here, MultiCare is committing to develop a 60,000 square foot health facility that will focus on both the community and on sports medicine, the things that make athletics happen in very productive ways. We're really excited that this 60,000 square foot facility is actually going to be integrated into the new stadium. So as you're rehabbing as a member of the community, you can look out and see where you're going to be playing at some point. So we're very excited about that. This joint development project is a great opportunity to expand professional sports in the region and to expand healthcare services into central Tacoma and the neighborhoods that it is our privilege to serve. And we are very excited to be a partner in what we consider to be a transformational moment for professional sports and youth soccer in Tacoma. Our commitment to this investment is obviously tied to the feasibility study and all the things that's going on here. And I want to commit to the mayor and to Commissioner Pointer that we are excited about that partnership and looking forward to working with you in that regard. So we're truly honored to be partners here at Cheney Stadium with the Rainiers and with the Defiance and with the Rain, and we are excited about the future we're going to create together in the best health of our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Your stamp on this community is a treasure in everything that MultiCare does. And I've said this before, but I go all over the country for sports meetings, sports events, and I brag about the ability to partner in this city, which when I'm talking to the other owners and presidents of other sports teams in their cities, it's dramatically different than the experiences I've always had. And Metro Parks working in conjunction with us on this feasibility study, this is kind of a new type of deal for them with the private public, and they've been phenomenal to work with. So thanks to Sean Sylvie, Joe Brady, who's in the room, members of that team. And great partnerships start with great leadership. And I think as we sit here and I'm about to announce Aaron Porter, who's the Metro Parks board chair, as well as our county exec, Bruce Dameyer, it's really hard to get 4, 5, 6 different groups together to do anything, let alone 2. And if you don't have great leadership and people with vision to help staff and the community understand why it matters, it's a really steep uphill climb. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Aaron Pointer and County Exec Dan Meyer. And Aaron, you can go ahead and speak first and then turn it over to Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, from another Aaron.
Great name.
And Metro Parks is really happy to be a part of this adventure here. The name change to Tacoma Defiance is a great name. As most of you might not realize, that Point Defiance Park last year was named the best park in the state of Washington by Money Magazine. So that is a great thing, a great name. And the excitement around what will happen here on Cheney Stadium really brings a lot of thrills back to me. In fact, someone mentioned home, and it's why and how I ended up having Tacoma my home is as a baseball player and the excitement of playing on this facility here at Cheney Stadium. And I'm sure that the soccer teams or football teams are going to have just as much excitement as we had in 1969 winning a championship here for the city of Tacoma. And the partnerships that were mentioned is something that Tacoma has always been great at partnering and doing things that will help make the community better. And the people in Tacoma have more opportunities for recreation and learning and enjoyment. And so we're really pleased to be a part of this. And I know it's going to be a success and that people will really, over the years, appreciate all that is going into this endeavor with the new Tacoma Rain and the current Tacoma to Defiance football team. So I'm happy to be a part of that. I'm sure the fans are going to be happy to be a part of that. And I know that the excitement is going to be something that will be with us for a long, long time. So thank you all, you fans, for coming out and supporting this endeavor, because without you, none of this would be able to be as exciting as it is. So we appreciate all the excitement. We appreciate all what you do to support the Tacoma franchises and the new team, the Rain and the Tacoma Defiance. So thank you all, and we're going to have some great competition and some great days here with those two fine soccer programs. Thank you very much.
This is a great day in Pierce County. I could not be more excited. Mayor Woodard's, congratulations. This is awesome. Bill, thank you and the mayor for getting it done. We could not be more excited for the Rain to come down here and play in our community. Megan, I have 2 granddaughters, and I can't wait to have them come watch you play. But I'll let you know that County Council Chair Doug Richardson's niece plays collegiate soccer for West Point. So just a heads up, you might want to look that way for a player at some point in the future. This is an amazing day. I'm very excited for the S2 football team to become the Defiance. I think that the name is absolutely spot on for our community. It captures kind of who we are, including a little chip on our shoulder. So it is really exciting to see that. Bill, it doesn't surprise me to see MultiCare in the middle of this. I am very excited for what you're doing to help care for our community and to help build our community at the same time. It is just an amazing, amazing time here. I want to build for a second off something that Aaron Artman said. You know, he talked about vision, and I would say, I think, as I look around Tacoma and Pierce County, I see something that's really exciting to me. I see what I'm kind of calling the Pierce County way. And what it is you see visionary leaders stepping forward and then bringing other leaders in partnership, in collaboration around them. And together, they find ways to get things done. When other people see obstacles, there are obstacles, but they find ways to persevere through those obstacles to make our community better. And I want to particularly single out kind of Michael Thompson. Now, Michael and I go way back. He graduated from Curtis High School with my brother. I graduated from Curtis High School with his sister. And while your brother was born at TG, I was born at TG, and my dad was born at PG. So top that, Michael.
Madigan Army Hospital here.
That counts. That's in Pierce County. We'll count it. But I can remember, like you, coming to this stadium, only it wasn't this stadium. It was at this location, but it didn't look a lot like this stadium. And watching the Cubs and the Tigers at one point. I can remember when I couldn't come to the stadium, listening to it on an AM transistor radio, listening to the radio broadcast. And to see what has happened already, to see what your leadership and your ownership team and Aaron have done here is nothing short of amazing. And I can see right now, I can see the soccer stadium coming. I can see the sports clinic out there right now. I can see what it's going to do to our community. So thank you for that visionary leadership, for you, and bringing together Bill and bringing together Adrian and bringing together Bill and bringing Megan here. That's absolutely awesome. So this is very exciting, right? The impact of this, it's going to transform this part of Tacoma. It's going to be signature in Tacoma, and it's going to be a huge impact throughout, affecting everybody in Pierce County. So this is a very exciting time. We still have a lot of work ahead. There's a stadium and a feasibility discussion to be had, and I will be there with you. I'm committed because I think it is visionary and important and transformational for our community. I'm not committing the Pierce County Council at this point. Certainly I can't do that. But I can commit that we're going to have a good discussion about it because it is critically important. This is a great day for sports in Pierce County. This is a great day for the youth in Pierce County. This is a great day no matter how you look at it. So thank you very much.
Before we turn it over to our media colleagues for questions, we're going to have Sounders FC General Manager and President of Soccer, Garth Lagerway, enter his opening remarks into record, and then we'll turn it over to you guys. Garth?
Well, thanks everybody. It's an honor to be up here with all the elected officials, with the mayor, with Megan Rapino, with our partners at the Rainiers, partners at the Rain, partners here in the city of Tacoma. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. Look, 3 years ago, we started investing in this thing called player development. And we said, it's not good enough to just have a kid pop up here and there. We'd had DeAndre Yedlin, we'd had Jordan Morris, but we hadn't had any kind of systemic approach to developing players. And we said, this is the soccer means so much in this community. We have so much support from our fans and from our partners that we can do better than this. And so we made a massive investment, 8-figure investment in player development. And we're 3 years into it right now, and I'm here to tell everybody that Tacoma Defiance is going to be the centerpiece of that development effort. We've restructured internally in the off-season, and we used to have 3 phases: the Sounders, we had a USL team, and then we had the Academy, which is kids 12 on up in there. And we've now restructured to have simply player development, which is going to be the Tacoma Defiance on down through our 17s, our 15s, and our 12s. And the Sounders up ahead. And so every kid that comes out here and plays, whether it's in this building or hopefully in a shiny new Castle on the Hill stadium right next door one day, that they're going to aspire to play in front of 40,000, 50,000 people in CenturyLink Field for the Sounders, because that's what this team is going to be. That's what this is all about, giving kids opportunities, men and women, and helping them aspire and helping this community aspire to be part of one of the best soccer clubs on the planet. And it is a source of tremendous pride to be part of the project here. It is definitely a risk. It is definitely an investment, but it's been a really fun thing to be part of. And I want to thank all of our staff and all of our players who are here today for coming along on this journey with us, because we have the potential to make this really, really great. We think we're going to contend for the playoffs this year. And hopefully we're contending for titles with this new model. We're going to play teenagers. We're going to give kids their very first chance at being professionals on this team. And we're going to do it better than anybody else. And we are going to start making soccer players for not just this city, but this country to be proud of. So thank you all for coming today, and we really appreciate it.
Okay, our colleague Joe Mandello is the handsome gentleman in the back there holding the microphone with the blue blazer. He will be around with a mic. We are live streaming this, so as we go to media Q&A here, please introduce yourself to our panelists for those that don't know you and your affiliate designation. If there are questions, we'll take them now. See Mickey Turner right there in the front, and then Nico.
A question for the board, for the mayor and Metro Parks. What do you see as the timeline for getting the feasibility study done, and what's any complications with that? And then for Garth and Bill and Michael, what do you see as what would you like to see as kind of the capacity of the stadium?
Well, right now, the feasibility study is well underway and it's almost complete. And that will tell us a lot as to whether the proposal is something that pencils out that will be worthwhile for the citizens of Tacoma and worthwhile for the soccer teams that will be playing in the facility. So we're hopeful. The Sounders and the Reign are hopeful that this will work out because we're all pulling for it to work out, and we think it will work out. So it's something that we will find out more by in the next couple of weeks when the feasibility study is complete. It's been undergoing study for some months now, and so we're looking forward to seeing the completion of that.
U.S. This is for Garth. Is the plan here and through for open games to be played here in Cheney and then eventually the new stadium?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's going to be no bigger proponents and fans of getting the stadium built than we will be. It is something that I think certainly it's really good for our kids. I mean, we went from playing at Starfire in front of 500 people to playing at Cheney in front of, I think close to 4,000 people just in our very first year. We think there's going to be even more this year. And we think if we have a 5,000 plus seat stadium right in the parking lot over there, we're going to fill that thing up every week. And I think the Reign are going to fill it up every week too. And when you look at that partnership and the different parts of the community you can touch, and even just to speak as a father, as a parent for a minute, that stadium would be such an aspirational thing for every boy and girl in this community. To have fields to play on, to be able to go to that game, to really be that thing that you can go to on a weekend basis with your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters. It would be transformative. It would be really amazing, and certainly something that we're going to be huge cheerleaders for going forward.
Going to go to Jeremiah next, and then Daniel's over here in the corner.
Jeremiah and Senator Hart.
Bill, you mentioned, I'm sure you know that this is going to be a big deal for Reign fans in Seattle. What can you say about the process of looking at other facilities in Seattle and what kind of allowances you might make for helping people get down to Seattle?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if everybody heard, but Jeremiah was asking about the process we went through for a stadium evaluation, and then things we might try and do to help people come down and watch games. So first, the process we went through for the last year has been a challenging one. That it was made clear to us by the NWSL that Memorial Stadium in its sort of current state was not going to be acceptable to play games in, beginning with the 2019 season. So we had a number of options. One was to look at renovations to Memorial to modify it in such a way that it would meet NWSL standards. Second was looking at stadiums. And our initial focus was between Bothell and Tukwila. Third, we looked out of state. We had conversations about potentially moving the team because we really didn't know if it would be possible to solve the problem in this region. So, obviously, the first two options I described are the ones that we spent the most time focused on. On the first, it just for us was not practicable to spend the money inside of Memorial Stadium to have the turf replaced, which would have to happen on a semi-regular basis given the usage that it has. And then second, to modify the stadium such that it was suitable for national TV broadcast. So, I think we've suffered a bit as a team in that we haven't been on national TV despite, our deal with A&E, and that's because of the aesthetics of the stadium, including the football lines, of course. So, as we looked for other places to play, in between Bothell and Tukwila, what we found is there are just no options that are right-sized for us and meet U.S. Soccer and NWSL standards. So, we looked at Popkini, and I think had very good discussions with them, and they were very open to us utilizing the facility. But there's a field width issue there, so the stadium's just not wide enough to accommodate a FIFA-sized pitch. So you go down the list. Husky Soccer Stadium doesn't have enough seats in it. Interbay Stadium, not big enough. Championship Stadium at Seattle U, not big enough. The only stadium for us that met all of the requirements that we needed to meet was CenturyLink Field, and we spent a lot of time with the group at First and Goal, and I think everybody invested their best efforts to find a solution that would work for both of us, but ultimately we just couldn't find a way there to make it work. So So in parallel with those conversations, and again, this has been going on a year, and Michael and I started the conversation, was introduced to Aaron, and really for the last year we've been having conversations on and off, and every time we talked, it got a little bit more exciting for me, and I started making the journey down here and exploring the city a little bit, and ultimately it became very clear that that this was the right choice for us. That I know, and I wish it wasn't the case, but I know we're going to sacrifice by making the move down here in the short term. But in the long term, I think it is the best possible decision for the future of the club.
I have to tell you that we did start those conversations last year, and early in the baseball season, I ran into the mayor down in the place where you buy T-shirts down here in our store. And I kind of whispered in her ear that there was a possibility that we would be doing some things with the Reign, and I got a big hug out of the deal, and I had to kind of say, "No, it's quiet. We don't know," which was really difficult for her, but it has been a long discussion, and I'm thrilled to have it come to fruition today.
Okay, we're going to go over to Chris here, and then over to Aaron.
So I'll ask. I'll just use my voice. So a fun question, and then, well, not so fun question. One, Bill, first of all, how much of this is related to what Megan alluded to about beer sales? Having that ability in Tacoma that you didn't have in Seattle, and then also on the Tacoma Defiance side, I think there's going to be some NHL fans who are going to be angry that they can't release the Kraken now. Any chance that
You want to tackle the Kraken first?
Yeah, we saw those rumors as this was in development about potentially in some kind of octopus theme. So we're glad we beat him to the punch, and no, it's definitely off limits now.
Beer, it is a funny question, but it was a factor, right? And I think maybe not beer itself for everybody, Pinot, but the overall match day experience, right? That there's just certain things that you expect to do now when you go to a sporting event, and we just couldn't do those things inside a Memorial. So yes, it was a factor, a minor factor, but I think it's all of those elements that are going to really transform what it's like to come to a Reign game. And I think it's going to match up with what we're delivering on the pitch. So I'm thrilled about it.
We'll go over to Aaron Levine. If the mic doesn't work, Aaron, feel free to project as well. I'm sorry about that.
Sure. No, good question. So for us, we believe that we've got a team that can really serve, an organization that can serve really the whole area from Everett down to Olympia. So we didn't want to adopt a single location to identify where we're from in there. It was a thoughtful decision on there. And we felt like when we looked at global soccer that Arsenal, Celtic, Juventus, like they've done okay, right? I think people have they've figured it out. So we feel like if we put a great product on the field, we've got superstars that sort of speak for themselves. I think people will find us. So we're happy with that. We really wanted to retain the Reign name. That we do feel like we built equity in the name, not just in this community, but really globally, right? That there are footballers around the world that know who we are, and we felt like that would be a risk for us if we changed it.
Michael and I still call it Tacoma Rain sometimes, but that's just when we're talking to each other. And the mayor.
Gonna go to Ari next.
You mentioned that your goal this season is for the team to be competing for USL playoff spots.
Yeah, look, we doubled down on our investment in this team. We had John Hutchinson as our head coach last year, who was transformative in terms of the culture of the team. He convinced us, above all else, to take it not just seriously in the sense of being a stepping stone on the way to the first team, but to making it this endpoint, the destination for all the young players to want to get up to, such that they could enter the first team through this as a vehicle. And so that's what I was trying to describe before. And that's how we're going to overcome some of the age disparities. We think we're going to have perhaps younger players, but we're going to have more talented players. And we're going to have more talented players that have come through a cohesive system, playing the same style of soccer from 12 years old on up. And we're going to be able to train them such that they are, when they make it to the Tacoma Defiance, they are all playing in roles that they know and are familiar with, and therefore can overcome some of that youth by being in a system with which they're familiar. So I think that's a big part of it, and I think that it's just something as simple as investing more in this team, investing in this facility, investing in transforming this field so we can play on grass, so we can play on a wide pitch. This field was held to be the number 1 field in the USL in terms of baseball to soccer transformations. That doesn't come without cost. We decided to sign more players for the team this year. One of the things that happens when you have this pyramidal structure is the first team has guys get hurt, and what got all the press was we got off to a slow start last year with the Sounders because we had 7 starters out for a couple of months. But what people didn't know about as much was the effect that had on what was then S2, now the Defiance, because we had to staff the first team constantly by pushing second team players up into the first. That meant that literally there were days where you had 4, 5, 6 guys at most training with the USL team, and so they couldn't properly train. They couldn't work on anything. The team was literally split. And so now we're going to go to a base of at least 16 players on a USL level. And with that base now, you're going to have a specific set training group with the USL team at all times, which I think is going to allow them to have a much better base going forward. And so we're excited about that. And look, this is just part of the progression. We changed our culture last year. We took this much more seriously. We held our players accountable. We have some of those guys sitting here right there in a row in front of you, Ari. They know how tough Coach Hutchinson was. And Coach Hutchinson's moved on to go back to his native Australia. We promoted Chris Little. Chris was the National Coach of the Year last year. He was for our 17s who won the national championship. So he's very familiar with our player pool going forward. And we now have Mark Nichols that runs all of our player development off the field, and Chris Little who runs all of our player development on the field. And again, we think that those commitments and investments are going to be critical to the success going forward.
Go over to Dave Clark here, and then Felipe in the back. Dave, go ahead, and feel free to project. The mic seems to be dead.
Dave Clark, Senator Hart for the mayor. There was some talk about how to connect what is now going to be a stadium district with the city, part of the feasibility study. Bill talked a little bit about that. Can you expand upon that, what it would mean to get Foss, Cheney, and the Halliburton Stadium project more connected to downtown?
Absolutely. I think there are a couple things. Number one, what it's going to do for this immediate neighborhood is a great opportunity. The other thing is when we think about the feasibility of just the stadium, it's not just the stadium we're talking about. We're thinking about what other amenities can we put around the stadium that benefits the community. The other thing I'll add that's really exciting is we finished ST3, meaning Sound Transit 3, there is the opportunity that we're going to have where light rail will come up 19th to going to TCC. So that connection alone, and you'll be able to catch the train, you'll be able to catch light rail all the way from parking at the Tacoma Dome all the way up to the stadium and beyond. So those are the kind of connections that we're going to make, and that's the part that's really exciting. Not to mention the other things that we can talk about doing around the stadium that makes this neighborhood more vibrant and a destination in the city.
Felipe, again, feel free to project.
Yeah, so I'll take that if you don't mind. We're not all the way there yet. I think the data that comes out of the feasibility study the term sheet that's in the feasibility study, because we were intentional about this feasibility study, and one of the things that's taken a little longer is we didn't want it to be something that showed really great pictures and had a bunch of good narrative in it. It's got to have actual funding mechanisms for how we can make this work, largely delivered by private with public. And so we're still working on that, and once that's done, then that becomes something that the public can review, the elected officials can review, and I think from there, it hopefully isn't a question of, oh, this doesn't make sense. I think everyone thinks it makes sense. It's tweaking it from there to figure out how we get to the deal points that can get all the electeds and the community behind it. And we've been really transparent about that. So I think what you're hearing is there's enthusiasm, even from the elected up here. There's clearly both enthusiasm and investment today and committed investment in the future from the private, with Bill Robertson and MultiCare, with our groups together starting or moving 2 franchises down, even though we don't know yet if we're getting the stadium. We're doing it here at Cheney. And so I think, for the most part, we're all in collectively as a group, fully understanding that the purpose of the feasibility study is to share everything with the public in a very transparent way, get their feedback, get what works and what doesn't, and then arrive at what eventually would be the deal, so to speak, to make all this happen.
And the one thing, if I could add to that, one of the things that, and being a proud former Metro Parks commissioner, one of the things that Metro Parks gets really right in its ability to connect with community, and because of their longstanding relationship with community as well as the cities, we're committed to that, and they trust what we bring them is the truth and is feasible. So, but there's a process by which we continue to go through for anything we do in this city that makes sure that if we're spending tax dollars, that the citizens of this community are behind it. But I can tell you just from talking to people, whether it's in the grocery store or at the mall, wherever I am and this subject comes up, people in Tacoma are excited for this opportunity.
And just to add commentary on that, far more excited than they were to renovate Cheney Stadium back in between 2007 and 2009. So if we're as excited about this project and we get it done, just imagine the groundswell of enthusiasm given how well the Rainiers and Cheney Stadium are now with attendance and community and everything else. So it's fun to be in this project where there is so much enthusiasm, even though we don't have everything fully baked yet.
And I would point out that when Aaron uses the phrase electeds, he does it with a great deal of respect and affection.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael.
We'll take 1 or 2 more before we have a photo op here with the full group. Michelle, I see you in the back there.
Yeah, so the main thing we ask the experts that help lead us through the feasibility study is what's the highest and best use if we take the land owned by the city and Metro Parks from here to 19th Street, as well as where's the best place for the soccer complex. And the highest and best use in the feasibility study may not mean that that's what we ultimately do, but the highest and best use aspects that we're seeing initially is the stadium being out on the fields, which means that's a decision Metro Parks really has to evaluate because they have to replace those fields. And there was a field study done, I think in 2016, that talked about the various field uses around the city and where they were weak and where they were heavy and where they needed to build. So that's the stadium spot identified as things stand now. And then still exploring places within the city to do the multi-field complex, which again is really something Metro Parks runs and would activate. Looking to get to a critical mass of at least 8 fields for a variety of reasons. The thing to keep in mind is all this is somewhat phased. So the stadium would probably be first, then these other things would come. But the stadium itself would be used for the community for youth soccer. I think there's over 100 dates we've committed to where youth soccer can play in the stadium. And you imagine you parents or kids even who have micro soccer, kind of 6 and under or 7 and under. We envision every Saturday and Sunday if needed, whether there's a match that night or not, that we're breaking that stadium field into 6 or 8 micro fields. And young kids are coming and learning how to play soccer on their team's professional stadium with the lights on and with camera crews shooting and concession stands opening. You imagine the power that has on a young person, their affinity for soccer and their pride in the city is their introduction to a sport is on a pro stadium. We think that's powerful as well. The third phase is some kind of mixed-use development between the two stadiums to activate the site. So some housing, some retail, some restaurants. You know, we're in the center of the city, this stadium is, but as far as amenities immediately around the stadium, we may be the most remote, at least in AAA baseball. Usually there's a place to eat and a bar, there's housing, there's businesses. And that's what we think can be a catalyst for Central Tacoma specifically, is that kind of activity. And quite frankly, MultiCare is basically the first group in on that vision as a part of this. And so we think it's already proving out to some extent that it's viable, given that we have a major sponsor saying, if we build this, I'm building a 60,000 square foot medical facility attached to it, something that is lacking in Central Tacoma. So that's how they all connect, but that's, you know, the feasibility study, I think, is kind of phase one, and everything could get tweaked or changed or altered or you know, made bigger and better. We don't know yet. Yeah, I don't think the study gets into traffic too much. I could be wrong, but not something I've been privy to as part of it. 2021 is the target date for the opening of USL season, which would be in March.
Any other questions from our media colleagues out here in the gallery? And if not, we will have select panelists available at the end, so no problem there. Okay, before we break the stage down and say thanks to our panelists and we do a group photo, quickly want to recognize the athletes in the room, which is really why we're all here today. So if you're a Defiance player, and I see Sam Rogers and a whole row of guys right there, we'd love for you to stand up. If you're a Reign FC player, I see Bev there. Obviously, we have Megan on the stage. We'd love to recognize you guys and give you a big round of applause. So thank you for being here today. Didn't want to smile at first. Okay. Thank you guys for being here today. Seriously, it's been an honor. It's been a privilege hosting you here today. We're going to quickly break the stage down. So ENG's in the back. Still photographers, feel free to come up for stills. ENGs, you can stay right where you are. We're going to break the stage down and we'll have a group photo up here shortly with jerseys. Thank you guys. You guys hang right where you are.
That was good.
Thank you.
It's going to be great. I loved your enthusiasm. I saw the prepared remarks. I'm like, he's going to sit up. He's going to speak to it.